The Lazy Girl. Once upon a time, a father and his 2 young daughters were living together in a land far, far away. One of the girls was very diligent, and the other was very lazy.
You barely help at all, and I'm exhausted. Oh no! You are already doing the cleaning. Why should I get my hands dirty now?
Their old father was a hard worker, and he was always tired. The only meal they had was soup and some dry bread in the evenings. One day, the old father made a request of his daughters.
My dear daughters, you know I love you both so very much. I've been thinking. You are both adults now, and it is time for you to take more responsibility. I want both of you to find a job and work.
You are right, Daddy. I will find myself a job.
And what about you, my daughter?
My sister should get a job, 'cause, that's so her thing. But I think I'd better do the housework, Daddy.
The old man was happy to see his daughters so eager. The next day, while the diligent girl left home to find a job, her father came to her.
My dear daughter, I have some advice for you. Never refuse someone who asks you for help. Always be diligent. Love your job. Do the job that was given to you to the best of your abilities.
Thank you, Daddy. I will never forget your advice.
That's my girl. Bye-bye.
The diligent daughter set off to find her job, while the lazy daughter, who said that she would do the household chores, did nothing. The house was getting more and more messy and getting dirty every day. The diligent girl walked for days, but had not found anyone to work for. After a while, the diligent girl saw a tree with dried branches and roots.
Hello, young girl. Can you clean my dry branches and give me some water to my roots?
The diligent girl then cleaned all the dry branches of the tree until her palms were bruised, and watered the roots with her own drinking water.
Thank you, young girl. But now you have no water left.
It's okay. You needed help, and I helped you. I can walk a little more and find water for myself.
The diligent girl continued on her way. Farther on, she came across a hearth with broken and cracked parts.
Hey, young girl, can you repair me and make me look better?
The diligent girl took a handful of mud near her and patched all the cracks on the hearth.
Thank you, young girl. But you got so dirty because of me.
Oh, it's okay. Clothes don't matter. You needed help, and I helped.
The diligent girl left the brand new hearth behind and continued on her way. After a while, a lovely lamb appeared, but the lamb was black, like coal, from head to toe.
Hello, young girl. I accidentally got into the coals and got dirty. Would you bathe me in that lake over there?
The diligent girl washed the lamb by the lake. The lamb was white and soft as before.
Thank you, but you're drenched because of me. You needed help, and I helped. I was already very dirty. Now I'm cleaner.
The diligent girl continued on her way. When it got dark, she came across a beautiful house. Oh, where 7 fairies lived. The diligent girl entered.
Hello. I apologize for coming to your home without permission. I am a young girl looking for a job to work. You can work here if you want, young girl. There are 7 rooms in our house. You will only clean 6 rooms every day, but you must not go into the 7th room.
The diligent girl accepted the job. She cleaned 6 rooms diligently every day, as Fairy said, for a full year. She never entered the 7th room. And when she had enough money, she asked permission from the fairies to return home.
Of course, young girl. You can go home. I'm wondering why you never entered the 7th room.
My father used to say to do the job right, no matter what. During my time here, my job was to clean only 6 rooms. And that's what I did. That's what you told me to do.
We would like to reward you for your honesty and diligence. Come on, come with us.
The fairies asked the young girl to enter the 7th room. When the girl entered, she saw a lot of silver and gold coins.
Now, you roll around in these coins, and any that stick to you will be yours.
Diligent girl tumbled left and right in coins. She looked almost like a star with the money sticking on her. Then the diligent girl left the fairies to return home. On the way, she came across the lamb she had washed before. The lamb was covered with pearls.
I did not forget your help, young girl. Take and get as many pearls as you want.
The diligent girl thanked the lamb and covered her arms and neck with pearls and continued on her way. This time, she came across the hearth she had previously repaired.
I did not forget the help you gave me, young girl. Take it. My warm breads, my lovely cakes are yours.
The diligent girl ate some of the bread given by the hearth and took some of it to take home and continued on her way. A little further ahead, she saw the tree. Its branches were covered with fruit.
Come, young girl. I did not forget the help you gave me. Take it. All my grape juice is yours.
The diligent girl thanked the tree and finally returned home.
Thank you very much. What a fruitful experience.
Her father and lazy sister greeted her at the door. The girl's bundle was full of gold and pearls. The lazy sister was very jealous when she saw that her sister was so rich.
Look at all those coins. I must go find a wealthy family to get a job from. If my sister has pearls, I will get emeralds.
The lazy girl told her father that she is leaving home to look for a job.
Oh, okay, my daughter. But you couldn't even work at home. How will you find a job out there?
The lazy girl left before her dad could even finish talking. She walked day and night. A little further down the road, she came across a tree with dry branches. The tree asked the girl for help.
Hello, young girl. Would you clean my...
I can't deal with you under the sun. My hair will get messy. Bye.
The lazy girl moved on. She saw a cracked and broken hearth a little further. Hearth asked her for help.
I can't get my thin and delicate hands dirty for you. My nail polish goes bad. Bye.
The lazy girl did not help the hearth either. Then she came across a lamb that was dirty, like black coal. And the lamb asked her to give her a bath.
Ew, disgusting. Get out of my way, you dirty thing.
The lazy girl ran away.
What a lazy little lamb. Can't even wash itself.
And came upon a huge house. The lazy girl took advantage of this and asked for work from the 7 fairies who were the owners of the house. The head fairy asked her to stay for a year and clean only 6 rooms. "Don't forget, young girl, you will never ever be able to enter the 7th room." The lazy girl reluctantly cleaned all 6 rooms for months. However, one day she gave in to her curiosity and entered the 7th room. Instead of gold and silver coins, there were bees and bats inside. The bees stung the lazy girl in such a way that she was scarred all over. She was very hurt. The girl immediately left there and started running towards the house. As she ran, she saw the lamb, which she turned down her request for help. The lamb was covered with pearls. The girl wanted to catch the lamb to get some pearls, but the lamb ran away from her. The girl continued walking and was very tired. At that moment, she came across the hearth that she turned down that requested her help. There were loaves of fresh warm bread on the hearth. When the girl wanted to buy a slice of bread, the hearth got hot and lazy girl's hands got burned. When the lazy girl ran away from there, she came across the tree which she had refused to help. There were bunches of fruit on the branches of the tree. When the lazy girl tried to pick some fruit, the tree leaned to the right. The girl ran to the right, but the tree leaned to the left this time. Tired of running around, the lazy girl finally gave up on getting the fruit. She walked non-stop for 2 full days and finally got home. Her father and sister saw her returning home in dirty clothes and injured, and they were very surprised. The lazy girl told what happened to her with great regret.
Oh, and I can't believe it. I hurt so much. Oh.
My dear sister, now you understand how important it is to be hardworking.
Remember, girl, when you are honest and hardworking in this life, you will be rewarded for sure.
After that day, the lazy girl has not been idle and lazy since. The 2 sisters both worked hard and were rewarded well. And this small family had happy, productive, and peaceful days throughout their lives.
Once upon a time, there lived a king who had 12 beautiful daughters. These 12 princesses lived all together in a big, beautiful room. The king protected his daughters with his heart, and when they went to bed at night time, he did not allow them to go out. But every morning, they would wake up to something very strange. The shoes of the princesses would all be worn out as if they had danced all night long. The king had to buy his daughters new shoes every day. But the following days after, the shoes just kept wearing out. Neither the king nor his men in the castle could solve the mystery of the shoes.
How is this even possible? How can a pair of shoes worn out like that in just one night? Your Highness, we can't understand.
Finally, the king said,
Whoever solves the mystery of my daughter's shoes will get to marry whichever daughter of mine he chooses, become my son-in-law, and get to be the king when I pass away. But he has 3 days and 3 nights to solve it. Otherwise, he will spend his life in prison.
Many young men in the kingdom and even princes from other kingdoms came to the castle for the job. For days they guarded the door of the 12 princesses' bedroom. But after some time, none of them could solve the mystery. And shoes continued to wear out by the night. Finally, a good-hearted young man also wanted to give it a shot. And so he made his way to the castle. On his way, he met a lanky old lady who looked very poor. "My dear child, I'm very hungry. Would you be kind enough to give me a piece of bread?" The young man gave all the food he had in his bag to the old lady. She was very happy because the previous men who had passed didn't give anything. The old woman knew that this one was different than the others. So, in return, she gave him a magic cape. "Take this magic cape. When you wear it, you will be invisible. When it strikes 12 o'clock at night, put the cape on, be invisible, and get in the princess's room. This way you can solve the mystery of the shoes. But be aware, do not drink what the princesses give you. No, those nasty princesses." The young man took the magic cape and went to the castle. And when he arrived, he said that he was there to solve the mystery of the shoes. First day, when he was keeping guard in front of the princess's room, the oldest princess came out with a glass of lemonade. "You must be thirsty. We have prepared some lemonade for you. Please, have some." The young man forgot about the old lady's warning and drank it. Soon after, he was very sleepy. He fell asleep, snoring all night in the room that they had prepared for him. When it was morning, the young man stood up in a panic.
I was supposed to wear the magic cape and get in the princess's room.
On the second night, the young man once again kept guard in front of the princess's room. This time, another princess came out with a glass of juice in her hand. The young man was so thirsty while keeping guard and waiting for the nightfall. Without thinking, he drank all the juice that had been given to him. And of course, dozed off once again. The next morning when he woke up, he finally remembered the old lady's words. "But be aware, do not drink what the princesses give you."
There must be a sleeping pill in the drinks the princesses give me.
At that moment, the king came next to him.
2 days have gone by and you still haven't solved the mystery of the shoes. If you cannot do it today, you will end up in prison and stay there for the rest of your life.
The king finished his talk and went away. The young man had to solve this mystery today. That night, for the last time, the young man kept guard in front of the princess's door. This time, the youngest princess came out with an orange juice in her hand. But the young man was aware now. He took the glass, thanking the princess, and when the princess left, he poured the orange juice in a pot next to him. This time round, he was standing tall. The night fell and soon it was midnight. The young man put his cape on and at that moment became invisible. Slowly he opened the door and could not believe what he was seeing. All of the princesses were wearing their most beautiful ball gowns, hair and makeup done with their very new shoes. "Let's see if the young man at the door has fallen asleep. One of the princesses opened the door and looked outside, and another princess put her ear on the wall. At that moment, the young man knew that he had to make some snoring noises. The oldest princess pushed her bed aside and clapped her hands 3 times. A secret passage opened in the place of the bed. The young man could not believe his eyes. One by one, all the princesses walked inside. And of course, the young man followed. The secret passage was opening to a stairway which had hundreds of steps going down. When they were going down the stairs, at one point the young man accidentally stepped on one of the princess's skirts. Oh, somebody stepped on my skirt! Oh, nonsense. It was probably you. When the stairs had finished, they came into a forest. They went past tall trees with beautiful silver branches. The young man took a branch and kept following the princesses. After another long walk, they stopped on the edge of a river. In the river, there were 12 boats in the shape of swans, and in them there were 12 princes waiting for the princesses. They got on the boats, and the young man got on the last one. The boat seems heavier than usual today, as if another person is on it. Strange. Oh, come on, stop dreaming. When they crossed the river, they came across a big shiny castle, and they could hear music coming from inside. When he looked through the window, the young man saw many people dancing. As soon as they entered the castle, the princesses started to dance. They would never get tired and just kept on dancing. Of course, their shoes started to wear out. The young man could not bear his hunger anymore, so he took a slice of cake on the table and started to eat. The youngest princess saw this. Hey, my cake! My cake is floating as if someone invisible is eating it! Come on, stop it with this nonsense. The young man took a golden cup from the table without anyone noticing. The princesses danced till the morning. Then they got on the boats, crossed the river, walked through the forest, walked up the very long staircase, and finally they came back to their castle. But their shoes were all worn out, once again. The young man was very happy that he had finally solved the mystery of the worn-out shoes. A while later, the king came next to the young man.
Your time is up today. Did you solve the mystery of the shoes? Yes, Your Highness, I did.
And so he told him everything. The king didn't believe him at first. But when the young man showed him the silver branch from the forest and the golden cup from the shining castle, the king knew he was telling the truth. And so he kept his promise and granted him the right to marry whichever princess he chose. The young man said that he wanted to marry the youngest one. The 12 dancing princesses were clearly not happy because their secret was out now. But the young man and the youngest princess got married and lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, there lived a brother and sister named Hansel and Gretel. Their mother had passed away when they were babies. They lived with their dad in a hut in the forest. Their dad was trying to earn their living by working as a woodcutter and was looking after the kids at the same time. A couple of years passed, and struggling to juggle work and 2 kids at the same time, their dad decided to get married again. The woodcutter's wife was from a wealthy family, and she hated the fact that they were poor, and she had to live in a small ruined hut deep into the forest. Plus, she did not like her stepchildren at all. On a cold winter night, As they were getting ready for bed, Hansel and Gretel heard their stepmother talking to their dad. "How are you going to get through this winter? We don't have enough food. If you do not get rid of these kids, we will all starve to death." Their dad opposed furiously. "No need to argue. I made up my mind. Tomorrow we'll take them to the woods and leave them there." Hearing all that, Gretel started to cry. Her brother Hansel comforted her.
Please don't worry, Gretel. Somehow we'll find our way back home.
Later that night, Hansel snuck out and collected as many pebbles as he could in his pockets. In the morning, they all started to walk towards the forest. Their father told them that they were going for a family hike. As they were walking, without anyone noticing, Hansel dropped the pebbles to mark the way back. In the afternoon, their dad and stepmother lit a fire and told them that they will be back soon. They walked off and vanished in the woods. Of course, they did not come back. When the night fell, the horrible sounds of all the wild animals in the forest started to echo around them. Shivering with the horrifying sounds of the wolves, Hansel and Gretel did not leave the fireside until the moonrise. Then they started to follow the pebbles shining in the moonlight and walk towards home.
Well done, Hansel. This was very clever of you.
When the kids came back home, their dad was very happy and surprised at the same time. Their stepmother also acted as if she was happy, but deep inside, her decision was still the same. She was very upset that they were back. After 3 days, the stepmother tried to get rid of them again. This time at night, she locked Hansel and Gretel's door and did not allow Hansel to collect pebbles again. But Hansel was a clever boy. When they were walking to the forest in the morning, this time he dropped the breadcrumbs that he had put in his pocket the night before and again made a trail the way back home. Around noon, their father and stepmother made up an excuse and went off, leaving them all alone in the forest again. Realizing that they were not coming back, Hansel and Gretel wanted to start walking back home before it got dark. But this time, they could not find the trail they left because all the breadcrumbs were eaten by the birds. Gretel started crying. For the first time, Hansel also felt hopeless. This time the kids were really lost. With no food and scared to death, they wandered around the forest for 3 days. On the 3rd day, they saw a bird, white as snow. The bird chirped songs with its beautiful voice for them. They forgot their hunger for a moment and started to follow the bird. The bird brought them in front of a funny-looking house. This house had walls of bread, a roof made out of cake, and windows of candy, and was covered with colourful cream all around. Hansel and Gretel could not believe their eyes. The house looked incredibly delicious. The kids forgot all about how tired they were and started to run to the house. Just as they were both going to have a bite from the house, they heard a voice from inside. "Oh! Now who is nibbling on my house?" They looked around and they saw a cute and sweet old lady at the door. When they told her all about what had happened to them, she felt very bad for them, and so she let them in. The inside of the house was very different from the outside. It was dark, scary, and it didn't feel right. But because they were so tired and hungry, the kids did not care much. The old lady brought all kinds of food and desserts for them, and the kids ate food that they hadn't had before. That night, they slept on the softest bed they had ever seen. When they woke up in the morning, the old lady wasn't there. They started to look around. At the end of the corridor, they saw a small door. When they opened the door, they found cases full of gold and treasure inside. They were very surprised, of course. Hansel wanted to get in and take a closer look. Right at that moment, they heard her voice again.
And what do you think you are doing?
When they turned around, the kids faced the witch standing right there in front of them. Apparently, the old lady was a witch leading the kids to a dungeon with a house covered with cake and candy. The kids tried to run away, but the door was locked. The witch pulled Hansel by the hair and locked him in a cage. Then she dragged Gretel to the kitchen.
Your brother is too skinny. Cook some food for him and make him fat. When he's in good shape, he'll be a delicious meal for me. But don't you dare eat anything. All the food is only for him.
Having no choice, Gretel did what she asked for. Fortunately, Hansel was a clever and wise boy. He decided to trick the evil-hearted witch. Every night when the witch was asleep, he was digging a hole in the ground of the cage. The witch was controlling Hansel every morning to see if he gained weight or not. But Hansel wasn't eating anything his sister cooked. Instead, he was burying them in the hole that he digged. In the meantime, the witch was telling Gretel to cook more. This went on for days until finally the witch had enough.
Fat skinny? I don't care anymore. Today I will make Hansel pie.
She turned to Gretel.
Look in the oven to see if the dough is baked enough.
Although she was in fear, Gretel was also a wise girl just like her brother. She understood that the witch was going to push her in the oven.
I can't get my head in there and see the dough,
whined Gretel. The witch pushed her aside and stuck her head inside. Gretel gathered all her strength and pushed the old witch into the oven and closed the oven door. Gretel knew where the witch was hiding the keys. She ran straight away and saved Hansel from the cage. The flames from the oven covered the whole house. Hansel and Gretel ran away from the burning house into the woods, but they did not know where to go. A while later, they came across a river. A giant swan took them one by one to the other side of the river. The kids looked around and suddenly they realized where they were. They ran home as fast as they could. Seeing his kids, Father was full of joy. With tears of joy, he explained to them how their stepmother had gone back to her parents' house soon after they had left them in the forest. And how sorry he was for all that he did, and no matter how hard he had searched for them, they were nowhere to be found. The kids loved their father very much, so they forgave him. But another surprise was waiting for their father. They both reached their pockets and brought out gold and diamonds they had found in the witch's home. Their father could not believe his eyes. All the problems that their family had ever had went away and they lived happily ever after. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Once upon a time, there was a father wolf who went out into the woods to hunt for his family. When in the woods, he suddenly heard a sound. Looking around, he noticed a tiny baby in between the bushes. "This is a human baby," said the wolf with a big surprise. He took the baby home out of harm's way. Watching from a distance, Shere Khan the tiger got very upset because he was the one who stole the baby from the humans. Mother Wolf and her cubs love this little baby very much. "We will call him Mowgli from now on," said Mother Wolf. From that day on, Mowgli started to live with his wolf siblings in the woods. Mother Wolf took very good care of him, like he was one of her own. In a short time, Mowgli became friends with all the animals. He played games and hung around the trees with them. At the same time, he got to know the jungle. During all that time, Shere Khan, the tiger, kept watching Mowgli from a distance and waited for an opportunity to grab and kidnap him. One day, the wise wolf Akela, Baloo the bear, and Bagheera the panther came together and started to talk about Mowgli.
Human babies are very smart. Let's bring him up like a jungle boy. Baloo and Bagheera, you will protect him and teach the rules of the jungle,
said Akela. Years went by fast. Baloo the bear was very attentive with his new student. He taught him how to look for nuts and honey, climbing the trees. Mowgli listened to Baloo's teaching with all ears. Every day he climbed a higher tree and started to feed himself. Baloo also taught him how to understand the sounds of the jungle. He was proud of his student. Mowgli was running very fast and swimming very good. And Bagheera taught him how to identify the traps humans set up for the animals and how to avoid them. One day, a cub wolf ran into one of these traps. Shere Khan the tiger wanted to hunt this cub wolf and make him his lunch. But acting before the tiger, Mowgli saved the cub from the trap. Shere Khan the tiger lost once again. Baloo also taught Mowgli the magic words he can use when there is danger in the jungle. In a very short time, Mowgli learnt these words by heart. Mowgli would not be harmed by any animal in the jungle. Realizing that he was not going to be able to catch Mowgli alone, Shere Khan went next to Banderlogs, the most dangerous animals in the jungle. He told them about Mowgli.
If Mowgli teaches us everything he knows, we'll become the wisest animals in the jungle.
One day, when Mowgli was making a shelter to protect himself from the storm, the Banderlogs were watching from where they were hiding. They decided to kidnap him when the opportunity came. At sunset, Mowgli was kidnapped by 2 monkeys and brought into the hills where the jungle was at its thickest. The little boy found himself in the middle of the Banderlogs. When Mowgli realized that he was kidnapped by the monkeys, he started to think. He had to reach Baloo and Bagheera and let them know. Suddenly, he noticed Chill the vulture flying up above in the sky. He remembered the magic words Baloo taught him. We are the same blood, you and I. Hearing these words, Chill the vulture immediately realized that Mowgli wasn't a stranger and that he was in trouble.
I'm little Mowgli! Could you let Baloo and Bagheera know that I'm kidnapped?
Of course I will, Mowgli, answered Chill the vulture, and flew off to deliver the message to Mowgli's friends. Banderlogs brought Mowgli to their cold cave, the Monkey Town. This place was a place in the deep jungle that humans abandoned years ago. Even though Mowgli attempted to run away, the Banderlogs outnumbered and caught him. Finding out about Mowgli's kidnapping, Baloo and Bagheera asked Kaa, the giant snake, for help to save Mowgli. They all came to the Monkey Town and hid behind a giant statue. From their hideout, they could see Mowgli and hundreds of monkeys around him. They started to wait for the perfect moment to take Mowgli out of there. At the right moment, Kaa said, "Now is the time. Let's go." Bagheera silently moved to catch the monkeys. Then he started to punch the monkeys surrounding Mowgli with his powerful claws. Banderlogs ran around screaming with fear, and one of them called the others for help. Suddenly, Bagheera was surrounded with lots of monkeys. Some other monkeys grabbed Mowgli and put him in a room with closed walls. Mowgli could hear Bagheera fighting with the monkeys. He remembered the water storage under the ruins of the city, and he knew that the monkeys were afraid of water.
Bagheera, run and jump in the water!
Bagheera ran and jumped straight into the water. Baloo was also attacked by the monkeys. They started to fight, and Baloo was hitting the Banderlogs with his front claws to protect himself. He was trying his best, but there were too many of the Banderlogs, and it was impossible for Baloo to fight them by himself. And Bagheera was helplessly watching him from the water, feeling very bad that he could not help his friend. When Baloo was struggling with the monkeys, suddenly Kaa came out. When Kaa started to hit all the monkeys with his giant tail, the monkeys ran away with fear. The monkeys were always afraid of Kaa. None of them could face him in a fight. So when they started to run away in the depths of the jungle, Baloo was finally free. But when Kaa opened his mouth and blew, all the monkeys stood still. Their voices suddenly went away and it suddenly became all quiet. Taking this opportunity, Bagheera jumped out of the water. Mowgli yelled from the tower he was trapped in.
I am here! Trapped in the tower!
Kaa swung his mighty tail and managed to break the walls of the tower. Freed from the walls, Mowgli threw himself out. Baloo hugged him with love.
You okay, Mowgli?
Yes, I am, but I'm very hungry and tired. You all have risked your lives to save me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Mowgli was also very happy to see Kaa on his side.
I owe you my life, Kaa. Thank you.
Mowgli, Baloo, and Bagheera said goodbye to Kaa and head to their homes. Shere Khan, the tiger, realized that he could never harm someone who had such powerful friendships, and moved back into the depths of the jungle, never to return. A long time passed, and Mowgli grew up to become a young man. One day he went close to the village where humans lived. He met a woman who immediately recognized him. She realized that he was the son which was kidnapped by a tiger many years ago. She put the little boy next to her in Mowgli's arms. Mowgli was very surprised because this little boy was looking very much like Mowgli's own childhood. But then he also realized that this little boy was his brother and the lady was his mother. Baloo, Bagheera, and Kaa were all watching them.
From now on, you'll be next to your family, Mowgli.
Whenever you need us, you know the magic words.
You are our brother. Don't forget how much we love you. Goodbye, dear Mowgli.
His friends said their farewells to Mowgli. Mowgli lived happily ever after with his family, but never did he forget the ones who raised him, his family in the jungle.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Hooray! If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Hooray! If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray! Hooray! If you're happy and you know it, say ha ha! Ha ha! If you're happy and you know it, say ha ha! Ha ha! If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, say ha ha! Ha ha! A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me?
Once upon a time, there lived a little girl. This girl wore a Red Riding Hood at all times. That's why everybody used to call her Little Red Riding Hood. Darling! Yes, Mummy? You know your grandmother is ill. Would you take her the cookies I baked and the fresh herbs I picked from the woods? Of course, Mummy, I will. The little girl, with her Red Riding Hood as always, started her journey to her grandmother's house. "Do not leave the road in the bunny forest, sweetheart," said her mother as she was leaving. Little Red Riding Hood started walking in the forest while joyously singing songs.
I wonder why they call it the bunny forest. I haven't seen any bunnies along the way.
Little Red Riding Hood came to a road filled with flowers. There were all kinds of colored flowers.
I should pick some flowers for my grandmother. She'll be very pleased.
While Little Red Riding Hood was picking the flowers, she did not realize that she was drifting away from her path. At that moment, she heard a sound coming from the bushes. Suddenly, a big bad wolf approached in front of her. Little Red Riding Hood was so scared that when she saw the wolf right in front of her eyes, she dropped the basket that she was carrying. The wolf jumped closer to her and collected the cookies she had dropped from the basket and gave them back to Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood was amazed by this unexpected gesture from the wolf.
Thank you.
Where are you heading, little girl?
To my grandmother's house, the yellow house at the end of this forest. She is not feeling well, so I'm bringing her cookies and healthy herbs.
Really?
By the way, you can call me Little Red Riding Hood like everybody else does.
I'll head on first and let your grandmother know that you're on your way so that you can continue picking up your beautiful flowers.
Right at that moment, he heard a gunshot of an approaching hunter's rifle and ran away as fast as he could. Little Red Riding Hood looked around for a moment and started crying, realizing that she was lost. Hearing her crying, the hunter approached and came next to her.
What are you doing alone here, little girl? It's very dangerous around here. I'm looking for a big bad wolf whom I've been hunting for a very long time.
Little Red Riding Hood was very ashamed because she had not listened to her mother and left the road in the bunny forest. So she could not tell the hunter that she had met the wolf.
Well, I was bringing cookies to my ill grandmother living at the end of the forest and I got lost.
Let me bring you to your grandma's home then.
They started to walk together, and right then, the wolf took a shortcut and quickly made it to the grandmother's house. He knocked on the door. The grandmother yelled from inside,
Who is it?
the wolf changing his voice.
It's me, Grandma, Little Red Riding Hood. I brought you cookies and fresh herbs from the woods.
The door is open, my dear. You can come in.
The wolf smirked and stormed in through the open door. When a while later, Little Red Riding Hood and the hunter arrived at the grandmother's house.
Go, little girl. Go next to your grandmother as soon as possible.
The hunter went back on his way. Little Red Riding Hood knocked on the door. Her grandmother yelled from inside.
Who is it?
It's me, Grandma, Little Red Riding Hood.
The door is open, my darling. You can come in.
Little Red Riding Hood hesitated for a moment, because the sound she heard did sound a little different than her grandmother. She then remembered that her grandmother was ill.
Well, Grandmother probably sounds like that because she is ill.
Little Red Riding Hood opened the door and went in. The wolf, dressed in grandmother's clothing, with her nightcap and her glasses, was lying in the bed. He also closed the drapes so that it became dark inside, and Little Red Riding Hood could not recognize him.
I thank you, darling, for all your trouble getting all the way here to bring me food. Come next to me so I can give you a hug. Come, my darling. Come closer.
Little Red Riding Hood left the basket on the floor, but she did not get too close to the bed, because her grandma looked different.
Why are your arms so long, Grandma?
So that I can hug you better.
Why are your ears so big?
So that I can hear you better.
But why are your eyes so huge?
So that I can see you better.
Why are your teeth so sharp, Grandmother?
So that I can eat you better.
The wolf jumped out of the bed and charged at the Little Red Riding Hood. At that moment, Little Red Riding Hood realized that it wasn't her grandmother lying in the bed, but instead the big bad wolf she had ran into along the way.
Help me!
The hunter heard Little Red Riding Hood scream.
Help! Help me!
And ran straight to the house, stormed into the open door and caught the wolf immediately.
I finally got you, big bad wolf. Now you're in my hands.
The hunter cut the wolf's belly and rescued the grandmother.
Thank you for saving us, Mr. Hunter.
You're welcome. But promise me, little girl, that you will never forget what your mother asks of you.
With great appetite, Grandmother ate all the cookies Little Red Riding Hood had brought for her, boiled the healthy herbs to make a cup of tea, and instantly got well. Little Red Riding Hood promised her grandmother that she will never ever fall into the words of a bad wolf again. Little Red Riding Hood was walking in the forest once again, singing along merrily, as she ran into the same wolf again. The wolf was punished by the hunter to clean the forest, and he was very ashamed about what he did when he saw the Little Red Riding Hood. The bunny forest became full of joy, bunnies and flowers like it was once before.
One eye, two eyes, and three eyes. In a land far, far away, there was an old woman who lived with her three daughters. The eldest daughter was one-eyed. The middle daughter had three eyes, and the youngest daughter had two eyes. Their mother, the old woman, loved the oldest two the most. She would do whatever they wanted.
Thank you so much, Mother.
The youngest daughter was always given the chores and housework, even while they told her she was useless and incompetent. And they didn't even invite her to their dinner table. Mom, Two Eyes doesn't deserve to eat at this table with us
Because she can't do anything right.
But So, the mother did not let her two-eyed daughter eat with them at the table. She was given only the leftover food after everyone left the table. Nevertheless, she kept her heart kind and helpful. One day, her one-eyed and three-eyed older sisters came to the girl with two eyes. They insulted her and threw dirty laundries on her.
You didn't wash these clothes well. Wash them again.
Two Eyes left the house crying. She went to the river to wash the laundry again. Why are my sisters treating me like this? What did I ever do to them? While the two-eyed girl was weeping, a fairy appeared before her. The fairy dazzled the two-eyed girl with her shining outfit, but she kept her face hidden from her. Why are you crying, two-eyed beautiful girl? Because I'm the youngest in the house. My mother and sisters say I'm useless, and they hate me and only give me scraps from the dinner table. Oh, don't be sad, pretty girl. Look, I have a present for you. This is a magic wand. If you make a wish and wave the magic wand 3 times, it will come true. When the two-eyed girl made a wish, a dinner table appeared. The table was filled with delicious food. Ah, look at these dishes, all warm and fresh. Two Eyes had been hungry for days, so she started to eat from the food on the table. When you're done eating, you only need to wave the wand twice, beautiful two-eyed girl. Remember, only twice. The fairy disappeared without showing her face. The two-eyed girl, after having a good meal, waved the wand twice, and the table vanished. Oh, I'm finally full. I'm so happy. But I have to hide this wand from my sisters and my mother, or they will destroy me for it. The two-eyed girl returned home using the wand as a walking stick. She noticed the leftover food on the table, but she didn't eat it because she was full. Two Eyes took her walking stick and went out again every day. She went to the water's edge, waved her wand, and ate as much as she wanted. But one day, when she returned home, her older sisters, One Eye and Three Eyes, noticed a change in their younger sister, Two Eyes.
Why does Two Eyes smile every time she goes out and returns? And she doesn't eat the scraps we leave her.
The next day, the jealous sisters followed her when Two Eyes went out. After a while, Two Eyes came to the water's edge. She made a wish and waved the wand 3 times. And a table full of delicious food appeared. Seeing this, the sisters were astonished.
Ah, so she fills her stomach with delicious food every day. And she doesn't share it with us either.
One Eye and Three Eyes ran home and told their mother what they saw. The mother could not believe what she heard, and she was very angry. Everyone hid before Two Eyes returned home. As soon as the girl entered the house, her mother came up to her and took the wand in her hand and broke it in half. No! Why did you do that? You were feasting on delicious food while we sat at home starving. No more food for you in this house. Two Eyes was so upset that she took the broken wand and went outside, crying. At that moment, the mysterious good fairy appeared before her again. Don't cry, two-eyed beautiful girl. Take the pieces of the stick and bury them under the moonlight. You will smile again. The mysterious fairy disappeared before the Two Eyes could see her face. Two Eyes went and did what the fairy said. The next day, a tree with silver leaves and golden fruit grew where she had buried the pieces of the stick. It was so majestic and bright that everyone could see it. Two Eyes' mother and sisters wanted to go to the tree and collect some fruit from it. But whenever the sisters reached out for the fruit, the tree branches were lifted up. Seeing this, Two Eyes came to them immediately.
Maybe I can pick a fruit from this beautiful tree. Huh, we couldn't even get it. How will you succeed?
Two Eyes stretched out her arms towards the tree.
Give me some fruit and some joy, tree of glitter.
After the kind words, the tree bent its branches in front of the Two Eyes so that she could easily take the fruit. Two Eyes wanted to give some of the fruit to her mother and sisters, but they were crazy with jealousy.
Oh, well, I can do that. Watch. Give me some fruit and some joy, tree of glitter. Give me some fruit and some joy, tree of glitter.
But the tree did not respond to what One Eye and Three Eyes had said.
How is it that this tree only obeys Two Eyes' orders?
At that moment, a handsome knight approached, galloping on his horse.
Get out of here, Two Eyes. Hide behind the bushes. Do not embarrass us with your selfishness.
Poor Two Eyes obeyed and hid behind the bushes with the fruit in her arms. When the knight came near the silver-leaved and golden-fruited tree, he stared in amazement.
Wow! If the owner of this magnificent tree would give me a silver branch, I would make her the happiest person in the world.
We are the owners of this tree, sir. I can give you a silver branch.
One Eye and Three Eyes jumped and jumped to pluck a branch from the tree, but in vain. They couldn't even touch a leaf.
You said this tree belongs to you? Then why can't you pluck even a single fruit from it?
Two Eyes wanted to come out and share her fruits with the knight, but she was afraid of her mother and sisters, so she stayed put and started to cry. And then the mysterious fairy appeared again.
Beautiful two-eyed girl, take the leaf of the tree and put it in your heart. Then face the night without any fear.
The two-eyed girl did as the fairy told her, and her worn-out outfit turned into a bright, sparkling dress. She immediately came out of the bush where she was hiding and faced the knight with the fruit in her arms. The knight was fascinated by the beauty of Two Eyes, and he couldn't take his eyes off her.
I can give you a silver branch with golden fruit, sir.
I want to make you the happiest woman in the world, beautiful-eyed girl. Will you marry me?
Two Eyes immediately accepted the knight's marriage proposal, and they embraced each other. Seeing this, the jealous sisters and mother apologized to Two Eyes.
We thought you were incompetent because you were younger than us. But you are pure-minded and kind-hearted. Sorry, sister.
Two Eyes forgave her sisters and mother.
The silver tree is now yours. You can get as many fruit as you want from it.
After these beautiful words of Two Eyes, the mysterious fairy appeared on the top of the silver leaf tree and showed her face for the first time. Two Eyes was very surprised to see that the fairy had 3 eyes and realized that people only need a good heart to do good, no matter how different they look. Then Two Eyes and the knight got on a horse and rode off to eternal happiness.
Once upon
upon a time, there lived a young couple in a land far, far away. They did not have any children, but they really wanted to have a baby girl. After a short period of time, the young lady was expecting a baby. One day, when she was looking out of the window, she saw a beautiful lettuce garden next door. From that moment on, she could not think of anything else but to eat that lettuce. I'll die if I cannot eat that lettuce. The lady lost her appetite and lost an enormous amount of weight. Until one day, finally her husband got so worried for her, he promised his wife that he'd bring her a bunch of lettuce.
Don't worry, my darling. I will go and get you some lettuce.
But you know, it's very dangerous. The house next door belonged to a mighty witch, and the garden was surrounded by big walls, which no one dared to enter. The husband gathered all his strength and climbed the wall, entered the garden, and picked a handful of lettuce. His wife ate the lettuce with great pleasure and felt a little bit better. But unfortunately, a handful wasn't enough for her. The day after, her husband went into the garden again. But this time, the witch was waiting for him.
How dare you come into my garden and steal my lettuce?
My wife is pregnant and she craves for your lettuce.
You could have asked for my permission, you know.
We are all very afraid of you. I didn't think you would allow me. Forgive me.
Forgive you? You will be punished for this.
If my wife can't eat the lettuce, she will get sick and won't be able to give birth. Please.
Then how about a deal? You take as many lettuces as you want, but only in one condition. As soon as your baby is born, you will give it to me.
Out of fear, her husband immediately accepted the deal. After a few months, the baby was born. Soon after, the witch came and took the baby away. She named the baby Rapunzel, because the type of lettuce the baby's mother had craved for was named Rapunzel. The witch took great care of the girl. When Rapunzel turned 16, she became a very beautiful young girl. The witch put her in a tall tower in the middle of the woods, but this tower did not have a staircase. There was only one small window at the very top. The witch had never cut the beautiful girl's blonde hair. When she came to visit her, she yelled to call her from below.
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let your golden hair down. It's your mother, dear.
Rapunzel led her long braided golden hair down through the small window, and with the help of Rapunzel's hair, the witch made it to the top of the tower. This went on for many years. One day, a prince came into the forest to hunt and heard a beautiful voice singing far away from the woods.
What a wonderful voice.
He thought, and rode his horse towards the beautiful sound. As he arrived to the tower where Rapunzel lives, he looked left and then right, but saw no stairs or anything else to climb up the tower. Mesmerized by the beauty of the voice, the prince came to the tower every day but couldn't figure out how he could climb up. One night, once again as he was approaching the tower, he noticed the witch was waiting below.
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let your golden hair down! It's your mother, dear!
Rapunzel let her long braided golden hair down through the small window, and with the help of Rapunzel's hair, the witch made it to the top of the tower. The next day, just after sunset, the prince went to the tower. Changing his voice,
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let your golden hair down. It's your mother, dear.
at first, seeing somebody else other than her mother for the first time in her life, Rapunzel got a little scared. You're not my mother. Why did you come here?
There is no reason for you to be scared. I heard you sing and fell in love with your voice. I just wanted to see whom this voice belonged to.
Rapunzel really liked what the prince said and was not scared anymore. For a while, everything went smoothly and the witch did not recognize anything. Finally, one day, the prince asked Rapunzel to marry him.
Will you marry me?
Rapunzel happily accepted this handsome prince's proposal. But Rapunzel did not have any way to climb down this tower. Suddenly, she had a bright idea. Prince started to bring a piece of fabric every time he visited the tower. Rapunzel was tying these pieces together to make a rope. But one day, Rapunzel made a big mistake and accidentally slipped something out of her mouth. Mother, Prince climbs my hair faster than you do.
Which prince? Which prince?
At that moment, the witch realized that there was something fishy and started yelling at her.
How could you betray me? I was just trying to protect you from the evil of the world.
Not being able to handle her rage, the witch suddenly cut Rapunzel's beautiful golden hair. And then sent her to a desert far, far away. That night, the witch stayed in the tower and waited for the prince to arrive. A little while later, she heard the prince from down below.
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Let your golden hair down. It's me, the prince.
The witch let the hair down she cut from Rapunzel. Unaware of what was waiting for him, the prince started to climb. When he came up, seeing the witch instead of Rapunzel, he figured that something very bad had happened. When the witch started to charge at him, the prince stumbled back and fell down from the tower. Thanks to the bushes below, he managed to stay alive. But because of the thorns poking his eyes, he could not see anymore. Blinded Prince kept walking around the forest, looking for Rapunzel with tears in his eyes. He fed himself plants and wild fruits he found in the forest. He walked so far that he finally arrived to the desert where Rapunzel lived. And suddenly something unexpected happened. He heard a sweet voice singing. He recognized the owner of the voice straight away.
This is the voice of Rapunzel.
He started walking towards the beautiful voice. At the same time, he was yelling,
Rapunzel! Rapunzel! Rapunzel!
Rapunzel also recognized the prince's voice. My prince! She started running towards him. My prince! Finally, they had found each other. Upon seeing him, Rapunzel hugged her prince and shed tears of joy. Rapunzel's tears wet the prince's eyes. And all of a sudden, a miracle happened. And the prince's eyes opened up. He started to see again. Seeing this, Rapunzel was so happy. Together, they went to the prince's kingdom where people greeted them with joy. And they lived happily ever after.
Once upon a time, there lived 3 piglets with their mother in a small house. It was time for them to leave their home and learn to live on their own. Their mother called the 3 piglets next to her. My dear children, the time has come for you to go out into the world. Go and start your new lives. But don't ever forget, whatever you do in this world, do the best you can. This is the only and the best way to stay alive. A little sad with a bit of excitement, the 3 little piglets said their goodbyes to their mummy and were on their way. After a while, they found some piece of land where they could build their own home. The youngest piglet was determined to build his home with straw. He thought this was the easiest and the fastest way to build a home. That way, he had heaps of time to play. The youngest of them all finished his house in one day. He yelled out to the other piglets, "Hey you guys, I'm already finished!" The eldest piglet had a look at the house.
Okay, but this house doesn't look steady at all. How will we protect ourselves from the wolf?
The youngest piglet didn't take any notice of his brother.
Don't worry, nothing will happen.
Okay, don't say I didn't warn you.
The middle piglet decided to make his house out of wood. From the branches he had collected in the woods, he decided to build a little cubby house. His house took exactly 3 days to finish. This house was a bit more steady than the one with straw. The eldest piglet walked over towards him.
My dear brother, you've done a great job, but this doesn't look safe at all. Is this house going to protect us from the wolf?
The middle piglet answered,
Don't worry, this house is very safe.
Okay, don't say I didn't warn you.
While the 2 little piglets were having a great time in their newly built homes, the eldest of them all was constantly working because he was building a home from bricks and rocks. The other piglets thought that his effort was useless. All they did was play around and kill time.
Why would you bother with this when you can quickly finish like we have? How scared is he?
The eldest piglet didn't bother listening to them. He worked for 1 whole week and managed to finish his house made out of bricks and rocks. A day later, a hungry wolf arrived near their home. He first stood in front of the house made of straw. the little piglet was resting in his house made of straw. The wolf knocked on the door.
Open the door and let me in. If you don't, I'll huff and puff and blow your house in.
You can't do anything to me! My house is steady enough!
And so the wolf huffed and puffed, and he blew his house in. But with great effort, the little piglet managed to get away. And off he ran over to his brother's house, made from tree branches. He knocked on the door, and when the middle piglet opened the door, the little piglet threw himself inside the house.
Hey! Close the door! The wolf can come in here! Don't worry, he can't do anything to us in this house.
After a while, the wolf came by the second piglet's wooden house and yelled inside.
Open the door and let me in. If you don't, I'll huff and puff and blow your house in.
You can't blow my house in!
And so the wolf huffed and puffed, and he blew his house in and brought it down. Both piglets ran to the third piglet's house and barely got away from the wolf.
Brother, the wolf is going this way. What are we going to do?
The oldest piglet answered, very sure of himself.
Don't worry. The wolf cannot come in this house.
A little later, the starving wolf came by the third piglet's house of bricks and stone and yelled to the three piglets.
Open the door and let me in. If you don't, I'll huff and puff and blow your house in.
Don't you even try, you bad wolf. You cannot come in this house.
The wolf got very angry. He huffed and puffed, but nothing happened. He could not bring his house down. He tried and tried, but he couldn't move one single brick. Finally, being exhausted, the wolf decided to try another way to go in. He saw the chimney up on the roof and started to climb. Realizing that the wolf was going to climb up on the roof and come down the chimney, the piglet quickly lit up the fireplace right under the chimney and put a big bucket of water on the wood. The wolf barely climbed up the chimney and threw himself in and went straight into the boiling bucket.
Help! Help! I'm burning! Save me!
Finally, being free from the wolf, the piglets hugged each other with joy. The three piglets went to their mother's house the next day to tell her all that had happened. The youngest one came next to his mother.
You were right, Mummy. Whatever we did in this world, we have done it to our best. If you really work for something, it will be a success.
From that day on, the two piglets were never lazy. They worked hard like their big brother and lived a happy and safe life. Once upon a time, in a little cottage in the woods, lived a mother goat and her little goats leading a happy life. The little goats were very cute. They all were like toys. Mother Goat, like all mothers, loved her little goats very much. She protected them from all the wild animals in the forest. One day, before she left the house to find food in the forest, she called her little goats next to her and...
My dear children, I am going into the forest. Do not open the door for anyone. If the wolf comes into the house, he will eat all of us alive. He's very shifty. He will disguise himself into different shapes and try to fool you.
So how will we recognize him?
The wolf has a rough voice, and I have a soft and sweet voice. So you can recognize him from his low and rough voice right away.
Right when she was leaving, the mother goat remembered something else. She turned to her little goats.
One more thing. The wolf's feet are black and mine are white. You can also recognize him from his feet.
Don't worry, Mother. We can protect ourselves. You can count on us.
Mother Goat kissed her little goats one by one and headed into the woods. The wolf was watching them from afar. When he saw Mother Goat leaving, he waited a while, and then he came in front of the cottage and knocked on the door.
Who is it?
Little goats, open the door. Your mother is here. I brought nice food for you all.
But the little goats recognized the wolf's rough voice right away. Without opening the door, they yelled out,
You're not our mother. Her voice is sweet and more beautiful. You're the wolf. You can't fool us.
The wolf got very angry because he could not fool the little goats. So he went to the shop, bought a big piece of chalk and ate it. Now his voice sounded much softer. So he went back to the cottage and knocked on the door again. This time the wolf started to talk with his soft voice.
My little goats, open the door. It's your mother. I brought food from the forest for all of you.
Hearing the wolf's soft voice, the little goats thought that it was really their mother this time. Just when they were about to open the door, one of them shouted,
Wait! Let's look at the feet from underneath the door.
Of course, when the little goats looked from underneath the door, they saw the wolf's black feet. So they yelled again without opening the door.
We will not open the door for you. Our mother's feet are not black. They are white. You're the wolf.
As furious as he was, the wolf left. This time, he went to the bakery. When the baker saw the wolf in front of him, he was very surprised.
I'm a vegetarian now, so I will eat pastry from now on. Could you give me some flour?
The wolf came out of the bakery with a little sack of flour. When he got near the cottage, he opened the sack and poured all the flour on his feet. Now his feet were all white. The shifty wolf knocked on the door for the third time.
My little goats, open the door. It's your mother. I have brought food for all of you from the forest.
First show us your feet so we know it's you, Mother.
The wolf showed them his feet with flour. When the little goats saw the white feet, they believed that it was their mother and opened the door. And what did they see? The wolf was standing right there in front of them. The little goats did not know what to do. They started to run around yelling.
Don't waste your time. I will catch all of you.
One of the little goats went under the desk. The second one into the bed. The third one into the chimney. Fourth kid hid in the kitchen. The fifth one got into the closet. The sixth hid behind the curtain. And the seventh kid went into the giant clock on the wall. But the shifty wolf was quick, and one by one he caught them all from wherever they were hiding.
Come here. Don't run. I will catch you all. I said stop.
The only one he could not find was the one hiding in the clock. He was already full, so he gave up on looking for them and headed out. There was a big yard a little further from the cottage. The wolf lay under a tree on the yard and started to sleep, snoring. Short while after, the mother goat returned home. When she saw the door open, she knew something bad had happened and started to scream. When she entered the house, she was shocked. The tables and chairs were all upside down. curtains were torn, the beds were all messed up, the pillows and sheets were all on the floor. Mother Goat looked for her little goats but could not find them anywhere. She started to yell out their names one by one, but not one answered. Finally, it was time to call the last one's name. Only then she heard a high-pitched voice.
I'm inside the grandpa clock, Mummy!
Mother Goat ran to the grandpa clock and took her kid out of there. Mother Goat and kid hugged. The little goat started to tell the story, crying.
The wolf came in disguise and we thought it was you and opened the door. The wolf ate all my brothers.
Oh, darling. Mother Goat was very upset. She cried for her little goats. With only one of her kids remaining, she walked out and started to go towards the yard. After a while, they saw the wolf sleeping under a tree. He snored so bad that the branches of the tree were shaking. Mother Goat observed the wolf for a while. She realized that inside his tummy, some things were moving.
Oh my God! Can it be that my goats are in his tummy and they're still alive?
She had a plan. She turned to her kid. Run home, bring me a needle, thread and the scissors. When the little kid was running home, Mother Goat collected 6 big rocks from the floor. After a while, the little goat came back with a needle, thread and the big scissors. Mother Goat cut open the wolf with the scissors. She saw one of her little goats right away. And then the other ones started to appear one by one. They were all healthy. Mother Goat couldn't stay still from the joy she had. All the little goats hugged their mothers with joy.
Mama, Mama, we love you! Oh, Mama, Mama! Yay! Oh, Mommy, we love you! Love you!
They were all full of joy.
Ah, my little goats, you're safe!
Mother Goat put the rocks she collected carefully inside the wolf. Then she stitched his tummy with the needle and thread. The wolf was sleeping so deep he'd not feel anything. He did not move. Mother Goat and her little goats quickly got away. When the wolf woke up, he stood up. His tummy hurt really bad. He thought to himself that it was because he ate too many goats. Because his tummy was full of rocks, he got really thirsty. He came next to the river to drink some water. But when he was walking, the rocks were hitting each other.
My tummy feels so heavy and full. It's as if all the goats I ate turned into rocks.
He wanted to kneel down and drink some water. Due to the rocks being so heavy, he lost his balance and slipped into the water.
Oh! Help! Help me! I'm drowning! Help!
Yelled out for help, but no one helped him. He could not bear the weight of the rocks anymore and went under into deep waters. When they saw what happened, Mother Goat and her little goats ran to the river.
The wolf is dead! Yippee! The wolf is dead! The wolf is dead! Yippee!
Hand in hand, they all started to dance and jump around. From that day on, Mother Goat and her 7 little goats had a peaceful and happy life in their cottage in the forest.